There's no doubt about it. In a world of rising prices, smart consumers are always on the alert for the best bargains. But endless choices come at a cost. Some deals may not be quite as good as they seem.
For example, in the long run, that cheaper price may cost you your safety or your health. The trade-off may even be your life. I am Leroy Hall.
And I am Deirdre Dixon. Counterfeit goods and the price we pay. Next up on CS311.
Crime Stop Jamaica and National Bakery, in association with TVJ and our sponsors, Guardsman, Home and Things, Careers Jamaica, Grace Kennedy, Progressive Grocers and Musson Foundation present CS311 with Deirdre Dixon and Leroy Hall.
It's a multi-billion-dollar trade that is closely connected to the criminal network here in Jamaica and all around the world. The sale of illegal goods, fakes, counterfeits, knockoffs, and black market items to both knowing and unknowing consumers.
When you buy that no-name cigarette on the corner or purchase that so-called designer item at a price that seems far too low to be true, you simply celebrate the savings and think little about the ultimate consequences.
But what's the difference between a good bargain and an illegal good? And why should any of us care? We spoke to ASP Victor Barrett from the JCF's Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch.
Organized Crime, brought to you by Careers Jamaica.
A sense in the level of the trade, it's best to look at the bigger picture of the macro view. The global figure estimates this to be $1 billion industry, almost $1 trillion. The International Chamber of Commerce estimates that for 2022, the counterfeiting industry will be $4.2 trillion US. Segue into the local market now to answer the question. It's in the billions. To give a specific figure, at this time we are unable. But I can say that to date, we have seized over $1.3 billion worth of counterfeit goods. The CTOC, we have done that. When I speak about counterfeit, you're talking about shoes, clothes, pharmaceuticals. So you have the Nike, you have the Clarks, you have the Puma. In terms of like bags, you have the Michael Kors, you have the Louis Vuittons. Those are the common brands that citizens go for, because we are brand culture. But there are companies in Jamaica that are permitted to sell cigarette, right? For example, Carreras, they are permitted to sell cigarette. So if you see a cigarette, whether it be a Sony, whether it be a Vibes, whether it be a Dart, any brand, it simply means that cigarette is not permitted to be selling in the Jamaican market if it does not have the graphic health labeling. The sore mouth, the toenails, those images, and if it doesn't have made in Jamaica, and also doesn't have the chief medical officer. Right, the dangers counterfeit goods poses to the country, it poses different risks to the country. Health associated risk, because simply you buy a dress, a counterfeit dress, and the dye that makes that dress, you don't know the component of that dye. And then that dye goes into your bloodstream when you sweat, and then you have ailments. The consequences of counterfeit pharmaceuticals, in our view, is fatal to the consumer, simply because that medication might not have the active pharmaceutical ingredient. Then you'll have no remedy from taking that sort of medication. In our jurisdiction, we don't have any cases that we can speak about in terms of the harmful effects. Close by in Panama, 94 citizens died from counterfeit medications. In Colombia, the counterfeit baby formula, it causes the infants to have rashes and some of them die. Think about the ramifications with the counterfeit medication. CTOC's success in clamping down on the trade has been phenomenal. From January to now, we have conducted over 20 operations island-wide. We have arrested 18 persons, and 4 persons to date have been convicted, and they were fined an aggregate total of $9.5 million, Jamaican dollars. We have seized over $1.3 billion worth of goods. So, I mean, that's a big thing for CTOC and for the JCF, and by extension, the country.
On February 28, 2016, yet another Jamaican lost his life, brutally, unnecessarily, and under mysterious circumstances.
To date, no witnesses have come forward to provide the answers to this crime, but maybe someone out there will finally reveal the truth.
Wilderness District, St. Mary, Monday, February 19, 2016, 7:30 a.m. The landlord of Mr. Orville Francis noticed the grill gate to his tenant's apartment was open. Nothing unusual, as Mr. Francis would leave for work at about this time. It wasn't until much later in the day, when passing for a second time and noticing the grill still open, that he became concerned. He pushed the grill, called out to Mr. Francis, and peeped in the door. On seeing all the blood, he immediately called the police. The police arrived at 2 p.m., entered the premises, and discovered the lifeless body of Mr. Orville Francis. There was no sign of forced entry, but the evidence of the life and death struggle was everywhere. Sometime after 8 p.m. the night before, a person came to visit. Mr. Francis put up a good fight, but died as a result of multiple stab wounds to his chest and neck.
Orville Francis went to bed on Sunday evening, but never lived to welcome another day.
His family is desperately seeking answers.
He's my brother, my second to last brother, a teacher. We have a very close relationship. We communicate regularly. My wife is a teacher, so both of them will communicate in terms of school work and when it comes on to education advice. Well, it leaves a space and feelings that cannot be replaced. Very sad. He have impacted the life of many, including my son. He don't deserve to be killed like this. Well, as far as I'm concerned, this killing is nonsense, and he don't deserve to be killed like this. And sharing what you know, or whoever know, it will help to bring a full closure.
Crime Stop is offering $100,000 for any information that may lead to the murderer or murderers.
The number to call is 311. Remember, your identity is safe. No *69, no caller ID. What would you do if I asked you to inhale sawdust or drink cleaning fluid? Would you willingly consume a product that could damage your organs or endanger your life?
One of the greatest dangers of the illegal market is exposing yourself and your family to unsafe, untested products that have not been certified by the proper authorities. Here are some other facts that we think you should know.
Did you know? Brought to you by Carreras Jamaica. One of the most popular illegal products in Jamaica is the cigarette, with the black market accounting for some 25% of total sales. Before you go and purchase this or any other such item, consider the following: toxic metals, dead insects, insect parts and eggs, animal hair, rat droppings, and even feathers have been found in illegally manufactured cigarettes. Counterfeit rum may contain cleaning fluids and industrial-grade alcohol, which can lead to organ failure, blindness, and even death. As much as 30% of prescription drugs sold worldwide are counterfeit, and 1 million patients die annually from these drugs, which may contain false or toxic substances. Each year, there are 450,000 preventable deaths from malaria due to the consumption of fake pills. In Jamaica, Cytotec, a legitimate medication for stomach ulcers, is sold on the black market for the illegal use in assisting abortions. Taking it in this manner can result in hemorrhaging and can prove fatal. In the 2017-2018 fiscal year, some $376 million worth of counterfeit goods were seized at the nation's ports. Remember, illicit goods harms the businesses which produce and sell legitimate products. Governments lose valuable tax revenue from the black market trade. Most of all, consumers are at risk from substandard and harmful products. We all pay the price.
This is not a scare tactic. These are the facts. Stay with us. We need your attention. Missing is next.
Missing, brought to you by Progressive Grocers. An Ananda alert had been activated for then 15-year-old Natasha Williams of Longville Park, Clarendon, who has been missing since Sunday, March 13, 2016. She is of dark complexion, slim build and 152 centimeters or 5 feet tall. Reports are that Natasha left home at 11 a.m. to attend classes, wearing a light brown skirt suit and a pair of black slippers. She's not been heard from since. 78-year-old David Ferron of Old Brayton, St. Catherine has been missing since Monday, May 8, 2017. He is of dark complexion, medium build and about 174 centimeters or 5 feet 9 inches tall. Reports are that Mr. Ferron was last seen at about 12 p.m. in his community, wearing black pants, a grey shirt and a pair of brown slippers. 26-year-old Timar Noble of Ramble Hill, Montego Bay, St. James has been missing since Friday, February 12, 2016. He is of dark complexion, medium build and 165 centimeters or 5 feet 5 inches tall. Mr. Noble was last seen in his community at 5 p.m. that evening, wearing a pair of jeans and red and white sneakers.
Counterfeit trade is a massive worldwide operation, ranging from drugs to electronics, cosmetics, pesticides, documents, and even diplomas and degrees.
Recently, we spoke to Michael Ellis, an international advisor on illicit trade, who recently retired from Interpol to find out where exactly Jamaica fits into the global picture.
The days when illicit trade was confined only to luxury goods, handbags and sportswear are long gone. Unfortunately, because of the ease of movement of goods, the ease of movement of people, the movement of money, the development of technology, the internet, the part played by free trade zones, the general globalization of trade has allowed for the exploitation of illicit goods by organized crime gangs. But what I've experienced in recent times is some of the factories that used to be in Asia are now moving closer to market. So in order to reduce the criminal supply chains, the criminals who are producing some of these products are placing their factories inside the regions where they want to distribute. By doing that, they're cutting their costs. By doing that, they're avoiding possible detection by customs agencies and border control agencies. The truth is, the dimensions of this crime is that the criminal mastermind may be in one country, the factory will be in a second country, the distribution will be in a third country, going in transit through a fourth country, the website servers will be in a fifth country, and the actual market where the products is sold is in the last country. And so you see the scope and scale of the not only the challenge for enforcement units in actually fighting against this, but the actual scale and dimensions of the international dimensions of the crime. Jamaica has become a transit country for product and containers arriving from outside. The containers are coming into the ports here in Kingston, the containers are being offloaded and then are being transited to other parts of the region, to other parts of the Caribbean and the islands. The off-fall of that is that then a percentage of the product, unfortunately, will then filter into the country itself. So what we're seeing now in Jamaica in terms of illicit trade are growing numbers of seizures, certainly by the law enforcement. Some 50% of tobacco in Kingston is illicit, and across the country some 30% of all the tobacco being used is illicit, meaning it's been smuggled in, it's not been having It's not gone through the proper channels, it's not produced by the proper manufacturers, there's no revenue income for your country, for your nation, the money that's being spent is not being reinvested. So unless this is tackled, it will only grow. Because of the international nature of illicit trade, there are a number of global organisations that play a coordination role in enforcement. One of those organisations would be Interpol, the umbrella organisation for some 190 national police forces. The World Customs Organisation is a similar organisation that also represents the global customs environment. The World Intellectual Property Organisation, the World Health Organization, the United Nations. And all these groups are playing a part in fighting this particular crime. And the way that these organizations work is by facilitating the coordination in a region. In my experience, in order to fight against illicit trade, you really need to work in focused, concentrated partnership groups, working together in order to provide transparent, effective exchange of information and operations from the private sector, who should also be part of this partnership. And the third most important pillar is the consumer, because of course you need to be educating the consumer and saying to the consumer you have a choice of what you do with your money. If you have the consumer as part of this overall campaign against illicit trade, together with the public-private partnerships, then you hope that you can get the message to deter people from buying something they think is a quick bargain, which really it's not, because it's something that's going to harm you ultimately in the end.
Crime Stop accepts calls on every form of crime, including trading in illegal goods. The number to call is 311. A good deal may be a very bad bargain. Stop and think before you act. Don't be scammed.
$15,000, $15,100, $15,200, $15,300. Mr. Chin! Oh, my friend! How you do today? Good, man. Good. Tell me something. You don't have any of the blue pill. You want a love pill? No. All sold out. Your friend buy all pill yesterday. Alright. Hey, I overheard you asking for Viagra. So, you did hear me? Yes, man. Me have some myself. How much you sell them for? $600. The one. Oh, nice. Make me have 5. Nice. $3,600. You put an extra one in it for you. So, Doc, what is the diagnosis? There is absolutely nothing at all wrong with you. What? But the girl know I don't get a direction and I take 2 of them one time. So there is something wrong with me. Look, Mr. Barry, you are as healthy as a horse. Then why it never worked then? You have any more of those pills? Oh yes, Doc. Here. Well, they look like the real thing. I see what your problem is. These are just ordinary mints. Oh, what you say? Breath fresheners. That is why the mouth smells so sweet. You see how some of we can stupid? You can't buy drugs and medication from anybody on the street. Go to a doctor. Get a prescription and take it to a registered pharmacist. Don't put yourself in a position that could endanger your life. Be sensible. Be smart. Use your head. Don't be scammed.
The following wanted men are out there, and we need your help to find them. We can't bring back the lives of those they may have killed, or pay back those who they may have wronged.
But you can help us to stop them from doing it again. The number to call is 311.
Javon Campbell, otherwise called Jeff, and cooking oil, is wanted for 2 separate counts of shooting and wounding with intent. The first on March 16, 2016, and the second on April 1, 2017. Javon Campbell, who is known to bleach, hails from Mount Salem, Green Pond, Salt Spring, all in Montego Bay, St. James. Ricardo Sutherland, otherwise called Brown Man, is wanted for shooting with intent for an incident which transpired in Lincoln District, Manchester on July 23, 2016 at 9 p.m. There was a dispute over money. Ricardo Sutherland left and returned with a gun. He opened fire. His intended victim escaped injury. Ricardo Sutherland is on the run.
The best way to beat the criminals is to know how to protect yourself. These safety tips are a good place to start.
Safety Tips, sponsored by Guardsman.
The trade in illicit goods is a very serious problem for small island nations like Jamaica. It denies the government of valuable revenues, it divides manufacturers of their rightful earnings, as well as it gyps the public out of their money. It's something that we all have a responsibility to report and take action against. Wherever we know that people are trading in illicit goods, whether it be in the designer handbags, the designer shoes, the designer clothing, or be it simple things like cigarettes and alcohol, we all have a responsibility to report it. The government loses lots of money in revenue because these goods are usually coming into the country without paying the rightful tariffs for their entry. They also come to us and they're not coming much cheaper than the real McCoy, and therefore we are being gypped out of our money. Wherever we know that illicit goods are being traded, wherever we know that people are smuggling illicit goods, we need to tell the authorities, we need to tell what we know. Crime Stop is one of the avenues that you can speak to ensure that this matter is handled confidentiality, and to a certain extent you are protected from what may be the consequences of a report. And it's our responsibility. If we don't start here and take a stand, then the country isn't going anywhere in its own manufacturing and production of goods and services.
We hope you are paying close attention. Be alert. Be safe.
At face value, buying one illegal good may seem harmless, affecting hardly anyone but yourself. But consider that before it has reached your hands, that one item could have been linked to major crimes like money laundering, human trafficking, terrorism, bribery, and corruption.
We all have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to our community. Let's all look out for each other. The answer to crime is in our hands. I'm Leroy Hall.
And I am Deidre Dixon. Join us again next week on CS311.